Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I thought I would do a really quick and simple Azure Standard haul video today. I did not do one last month because I actually didn't do an Azure Standard order last month. Simply because October is a very busy month for biblical feasts, and even though the people at Azure Standard are Torah observant and keep the biblical feasts and Shabbat and everything, I didn't know if they were on the same calendar that I was, and I didn't want there to be any conflict, and so I just kind of skipped that order for October. And I actually don't think I did a haul video back in September either. To be honest, I can't remember when the last one was that I did, but I haven't done one in a while, so I thought I would do one for you all today after a quick little sip of my morning coffee. Like I said, it's just a little haul today, and I don't have everything out because some of the things are already in the refrigerator. So let's see, starting off over here, cleaning supply refresh. Refilling my supply of my citrus fragrance Azure Clean dish soap. I buy the 3-pack of these, although I do have last time I ordered it, I accidentally ordered the small jars or the small bottles. I needed the bigger ones. I got some lid for the 5-gallon food grade storage buckets, which are actually still in my truck. But I got a few of the regular lids to go with those. Most of the time I put the Gamma Seal lids on my 5-gallon buckets, but occasionally I'll need just a regular bucket or a regular lid for, you know, whatever my purpose is. And so I just grabbed a few of those, a 3-pack of them. I got another jug of the citrus, again, fragrance, Azure Clean laundry detergent. I do a lot of laundry because we have pets. And I just, even though I love my pets, I can't stand smelling pets in the house. So if I ever come in my house and I think I smell like dog and stuff, I'm washing all the blankets, although they're not allowed on my bed. But we keep like a quilt on the recliner because the dogs do get on the recliner. The dog blankets, all of their beds are covered in blankets so that I can wash the blankets. So I just do a lot of laundry. And so as soon as I open my last bottle or jug of laundry detergent, I'm ordering another. And I actually usually order another one before I even get to my last one because I like to have a supply on hand. And then food-wise, I just decided it was time to stock up on the pasta. I needed some more egg noodles, and so got a 2.5-pound bag of these. Now these, all of my pastas I store in the great big gallon jars that I also get from Azure Standard, just because I don't like storing pasta. Well, I don't like storing pantry goods at all, really, in plastic or paper. I like to transfer everything over to glass because it is, you know, airtight. It is moisture proof, pest proof. If you've ever had ants or mice or anything get in your pantry, you know the kind of damage they can cause and, you know, food they can destroy. And so I'm really big on glass. So yes, I got the egg noodles. I also ordered some of this radiatori, which I thought was kind of neat looking. I don't think I have ever bought this kind of pasta or this shaped pasta before. And so I thought that might be a little bit fun. Let's see. I got a bigger bag. Let's see, that first one was 2.5 pounds. This one's a 5-pound bag of cavatappi. I do love to use cavatappi for basically anything that I would use macaroni for. So if I'm doing like baked mac and cheese or anything like that. I just like using these noodles. They have a little bit of texture, which really helps them hold on to sauce. And so I just liked using those. Also time to stock up on my dry milk. I didn't get the A2 one this time. I just got the regular whole milk. I use this in baking and things like that. Now, I forgot to order powdered buttermilk, so I've already got that on my next order for next month. And then I got a 6-pack of organic water chestnuts. I love to use water chestnuts in sometimes recipes you wouldn't think of, but fried rice. I love chopping up water chestnuts and putting it in homemade fried rice. Of course, I make Mongolian beef, which I put water chestnuts in. I have a crunchy chicken casserole. So got a 6-pack of those. And then down here on the floor, I've got a couple of big bags. I have a 25-pound bag of the unbleached organic all-purpose flour. And I also have a 25-pound bag of the organic unbleached bread flour, and that one is the unifying version. And to make that one, they use a special mill, and there's a video all about that on their website. I'll put a link to that in the video description down below or up here in the card if you're curious about it. And then there's 3 more things. Let me grab the 2 things out of the fridge real quick. I got some more cabbage. I'm trying to eat more cruciferous vegetables. They're very anti-inflammatory and really good for your gut. And so I'm trying to incorporate even more into my diet than usual. And of course, cruciferous vegetables are your cabbages, your Brussels sprouts, your cauliflower, your broccoli, and all of that. And then the last food item is some grated Parmesan cheese. I actually have a shredded version that I get from Azure Standard. The brand is Romiato, I think, or something like that. That one is a shredded version. And then I've got some more of the grated. I really like keeping them both in my freezer. Really good for recipes. We love to sprinkle soups with Parmesan. It just gives it a nice little something something, especially if it's something like an Italian kind of soup, like my Italian vegetable soup that I make. We also like to sprinkle it on top of like potato soups, like my kielbasa potato soup. You know, we just go through a lot of Parmesan, so I always buy multiples of these and I keep them in the freezer. This right here is the other brand of the Parmesan that I get from Azure Standard. Also organic and all of that. And again, this is the shredded version. And now a lot of people get a little iffy about shredded cheeses because of the wood pulp that many cheeses are coated with. This cheese is coated with potato starch to keep it from clumping. And that's also from Azure Standard. All right, and then the very last thing that I got was a Himalayan natural rock salt lamp. This is their medium-sized one, and it has a wood base and all of that. Now, there's almost dropped it. There's all sorts of stuff out there about these lamps that you can, just do your own homework on. But if you've been around here for a while, you may remember many years ago where I had one of these lamps, and I was having an adverse reaction to it. Because the way these work, the way these deodorize a room is they create ions, and the ions cause dust particles that are in the air to clump together and become heavy and then fall to the ground. So that's how they work to get like pollen and dust and all of that out of the air. So when I first had one of these, it was giving me headaches. But ions, negative or positive, I can never remember which one it is, like thunderstorms and barometric pressure and all that stuff are prone to giving me headaches. And like I said, the one that I had back then gave me headaches. However, In the last several years, I've been using some technological versions of these plug-in air fresheners that create ions in my house and do the same thing. So they deodorize the home, but they help get the dust particles and everything out of the air by creating those ions that cause the particles to clump together and fall to the ground. And when I first started using them, they were also giving me headaches, but after maybe just a couple of weeks, my body kind of got used to them and they weren't giving me headaches anymore. And I've been using those for about, well, somewhere around 3 years or so. But I've noticed they don't last that long. They last about a year and they're not inexpensive. And so I decided, rather than buying another one of those, I would get one of these and see if, I could just go back to using the classic rock salt lamp instead, because the way that they work is exactly the same. So that is it for today, friends. Thank you for joining me here again at the Homestead. That is my little Azure Standard haul for the beginning of the month of November. So with that, God bless, and I will talk to y'all next time.